Hello and welcome to the Sports Mental Health NI podcast, a special edition as we cover the 4x4x48 Goggins Challenge. Running 4 miles every 4 hours for 48 hours seems easy. I'm Aaron Agnew and I'm delighted to be joined by 3 inspirational guys, I would like to say, who went through all the pain for the 48 hours before that and even after. Scott Wilson to the far right, Gareth Bishop, closest to me here, and the man who made it all possible, Richard Murphy. Murph, we're 5 years on from the initial Goggins Challenge. You've just completed the 5-year anniversary, so to speak, but where did it all start?
Where did it all start? I blame Scott Wilson for a start. But probably going back to where 2019, I just started doing a bit of running. And Scott was on Facebook, and I think he was up in the mornings doing the 7-7s. I think it was a second attempt. I think the weather had put him off the first time, if I'm right. Yeah. And he was listening to this guy, David Goggins. I don't know why that the thing near me, who is this guy? So I Googled him. And next thing, I'm just watching everything about him, you know. And then there was a guy, Jesse from America, I can't remember his second name. He was doing this running event, and there was 4 of them in America. And I think they were doing like 1 mile loops each, and Goggins weighed in by himself, and was, you know, he was doing it just by himself, and the guy, he couldn't get his head around it.
They had a team.
They had a team. They had a team of guys. So he ended up somehow got the contacting Goggins and asked him to move. He wanted a bit of the secret sauce. That's what he basically says. He said, "What's he got here?" So he asked Goggins to move in with him. And the deal was, Goggins says, "Well, if I move in with you, you have to do everything I say." So one of the things, I know it just went down a wee road path here, but one of the things it was a 4x4x48. So it was running 4 miles every 4 hours for 48 hours.
Yeah, that was one of the things you made him do at like 2 in the morning.
Yeah, and that's, you know, that was obviously over a 48-hour period. And I don't know, we just thought about it and go, that sounds doable, sort of thing. And then you're like, flip. And then you're thinking more about it, you know, because you're early hours of the morning, all them runs. And
but I think what's pretty good about that is you weren't running an awful lot.
No,
at that point.
Not a hell of a lot. But
so,
go ahead.
So when you're saying it's doable, you're coming at that from a real novice point of view. So for me, that shows your mindset early on.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
Because most would look at that and go, "My goodness me, I could never do that." But you're looking at that and going, "That's doable."
Yeah, well, I suppose I'd probably been running for a good 3 or 4 months. I'd really got into it and just was feeling really good. And then, of course, you run that wee bit further and get a bit more confident. But again, it's still, like Scott said, it's a pretty mind-blowing thing. And then, I don't know, because it was July, wasn't it, we done it? It was definitely July. 2020, wasn't it? Mm-hmm. Yeah, just coming out of COVID. So I don't know what point, how close it was, maybe a few months before, that we sort of had mentioned about it. I think me and you had spoke about it, you know, we'd spoke about Goggins and said, "That's mad about that challenge," sort of. And we knew he sort of does it every year.
Yeah.
At a certain, I'm not sure what month he does it.
And he encourages everyone else to sort of do it along at the same time, yeah.
And then, I'm just trying to re-jog him out, how it came about.
Well, it must have been
the whole sports thing.
It's probably over a pint.
Aye,
sort of one of the best ideas.
Yeah.
Well, when did you just give it the green light though? It's like, okay, we're doing it, as opposed to flirting with the idea.
I think when I think back that time, actually, sports, I think I contacted TJ.
You were sort of down.
I was doing. I actually went and done, you know, a wee bit of counselling through sports That's what it was. It's re-jogging the memory here, 50 now. Right? But, and that's what it was. And then spoke to TJ about maybe doing it. And once we got him on board, it just took off. So it really grew legs.
It must have been something you and Glenn were discussing first.
Yes. So my cousin Glenn, who done it the first time, he was doing a good bit of running as well. And, it's just one of them mad ideas. It just sort of, you don't know if it'll ever take off or not. I'm sure that Scott wanted to do the whole lot, but he's debating that he's not sure about that. But anyway, and then I suppose there was definitely a good couple of months build up to it, and then obviously just planning it. Obviously, this time here was sort of, we knew how to plan it out this time. Obviously putting the different runs, different places and stuff like that. But it was just, what way to go about it.
I remember going back to the first time and sort of filming it initially for the documentary, hearing your backstory, and Scott sort of tagged along for, I think, Scott for the first one or two legs at 2 p.m. and at 6 p.m. in Corridor and Donegal, I think, and then I think I went to film it in Malile at 2 a.m. in the morning. You were still there.
I turned up.
Once you got to 2 a.m. in the morning, you were never going home after that. You were doing the full lot, like.
No, that's why I my memory isn't great either. But I honestly don't think I was, like, me and Murph would have talked about Goggins a lot, and the challenge and all, but I don't think I was involved in the early planning at all.
I suppose a big thing for me, which was good, my cousin Glenn, he actually moved in with me for the weekend, so he did, so, which was great for us, but for Scotty there, he's obviously the family life and all. I actually remember that the first one, you saying about one of your young fellas getting you the porridge and all, getting the porridge, which I thought was brilliant.
Jumping forward a wee bit, how did you find this time being on your own, come back to the house without the support of Glenn or someone else?
And 2 alarm clocks.
Well, I brought my Alexa up, so I have my phone and my Alexa.
Already.
My nephew actually, my sister's he came in instead for the weekend, but I didn't really see much of him anyway. But I had the wee dog there, which I've just got recently, so he didn't, especially the wee dog didn't know he's coming or going. But I definitely found it harder, and I think that's why after the first 2 runs, if you remember, I actually ended up going to the spa in between in hours.
A football match.
A
Hydrox competition.
But I suppose it was just sort of maybe filling my time in a wee, especially after the first 2 runs. Guys, first 3 runs, you're sort of in the honeymoon period, aren't you? And I sort of thought, right, I'll do that there and just help my body relax and stuff like that there. But again, it probably was just filling that wee bit of time in, where me and Clem were maybe going back, and he got me he put me onto The Last Dance, which I was trying to get these on to. Michael Jordan was absolutely brilliant, but we were watching, so we were, to be honest with you, the bond we made that weekend, we were always close, but we made a big bond that weekend. It was
brilliant.
That's where it started then, and I suppose the accomplishment then, Murph, for you at the time was completing it and actually saying that you've done it. And then sort of sail off into the sunset, and then all of a sudden a 2-minute voice note comes through one day in 2025, and we're thinking about, me and Scotty are thinking about doing the Goggins challenge again. Are you up for doing a bit of filming?
Scott's brilliant, because he builds a snowball and then he gets me to throw it. Because at the start of I think it was around the start of the year, maybe January, February, he's like, 5-year anniversary this year, and that's it. He just sort of launched that in there.
I can't deny this one.
And I don't know. I hadn't really thought about it, and then he said that there, and I was sort of, and then I started toying with it. And once I started toying with the idea, it was just that was it then, And it was funny at the start. We said to a few boys, and all of a sudden with 9 people in this WhatsApp group, and everybody's like, yes sir, we're going to do it, no bar, blah blah blah. Gareth was actually one of the last ones to come in, I'll let you tell.
Oh, was it?
That,
Oh, yeah?
that him
Didn't know
tell you
that.
the,
Must have been.
the story of how
The story
he ended up.
for Gareth doing it is unique, and I suppose it's a job that they'll never take again. Gareth, just want to tell us how that came about?
Yeah, so I clean carpet and upholstery, and jobs come in, and you just go into autopilot. You just go and do your work like everyone else. But one day I got a job, and I actually pride myself on it. A lot of people go to their work and just leave the key under the mat for me, and there's not a lot of people that would do that for somebody you've never really met before. But I suppose my missus cut Smurf's hair, so I suppose he kind of trusted me a bit.
Yeah.
So straight off the bat, I appreciated that anyway. Someone that trusts you to go into their home. So it turned up.
Tell the story. What
Yeah.
you did when you went into it.
Yeah, I'm trying to get through the
front door here?
Yeah, I'm trying the front door because it gets traumatic after that, the PTSD. So yeah, into Murph's house I went, and a job that should have took me 2 hours took me about 3, because I couldn't walk past a running trophy or a running medal, or his prized possession, which was the David Goggins 4x4x48 T-shirt, framed and hung on his wall.
Which TJ got done for us the last time.
Yeah.
Yes.
Thank you for the.
That was brilliant. Yeah.
So TJ, we're still waiting on that from this
The
year.
next
Oh,
one.
aye. No pressure.
And I'll take one, sure, while you're at it, TJ. But I just thought, because I just have a bit of respect for that. Like, the running's not easy, and Murph had accomplished a lot. So I cleaned his carpets, closed the door, threw the key back onto the mat, and sent the bill. And at the end of the bill, I said, congratulations on all the running. That's really cool, like, fair play. On to the next job, never thought anything of it. Until, in true Goggins style, I got a WhatsApp fucking voice clip at 6 a.m.
Oh, aye. That's my favourite time. The morning.
Hey boy, you want to do the Goggins 4x4x48? And you could tell he was out running. Hey boy, you want to do the Goggins 4x4? And I obviously just woke up. Hey, I just back from a run myself, mate.
Run the bath.
Run the bath, maybe. And then that was it. I fancied a bit of that. I think that's why I asked him about it, congratulated him on the run. I was looking invited,
Had you done any running?
Yeah,
previously?
Yeah, so I've done a wee bit of running myself. It's been a couple of years now, but I've done a lot of the 5Ks, 10Ks, half marathons, and then I've done 2 Belfast marathons.
All right.
And then get into other stuff, but I've never been as happy when I was running. See, the endorphins, they last for days.
Yeah.
There's a runner's high.
Oh, running in general?
As a lifestyle.
Yeah.
Running as a lifestyle, whether you're training for something or you're doing it, to kind of self-medicate as such. But I always reflect back in the running era of my, wee life. You're always fucking buzzing. There's never a bad day.
True.
And then you stop the running and you do other stuff, or you just give it up. But I always reflect back to the running and think, fuck, I was never as happy. So it was good to get back into it for a good reason.
Well, what I just would like to add in, one thing that got me to say to him as well, and this was the mindset thing as well, he told me about doing base camp at Kilimanjaro and then the Great Wall of China as well. So he'd made it clear that he liked the challenge.
Yeah.
And see, once he had done that, I sort of thought, well,
because those
he
types
wanted
of
to give him a piece of the pie.
those types of challenges for me, it's like whenever you do a marathon, it's like closure as such. Yeah, you kind of flirt with the idea of ultra marathons and stuff, but then then I fell in love with summiting, the highest freestanding mountain in the world, which was Kilimanjaro. So then I've done that, but then you're like, okay, well, I've done a mountain. So kind of time drifted by, and nothing else really caught me. But this 4x4x48 carry on,
I remember you saying that.
it's a different fucking animal. And it really got my juices going again, because it's a different animal.
It really is. Like, I mean, you talk about ultra marathons. Like, I'll not say one's easier than the other, but I think the 4x4x48 is completely different than going out and running 48 miles straight. You know,
it is 100%.
Obviously, with stopping, you're out of routine, lack of sleep,
Travel.
You know, everything sort of goes into that. How you cope with that? Because your body's not used to it.
It's a whole package.
It is a whole package. It's a different animal altogether, and that's what's attractive about it.
Yeah,
you know.
I've seen a few people that have done the 4x4x48, and I sort of looked at their journey of it, and there was one of the lads had done it in his local town, and he just sort of done the same 4 miles. Now I went, that'll be tough because it's the same
tough.
run. But then what you've done, you're driving from Malile back to the house, then in the corridor, back to the house, then to Donaghadee, back to the house, then to Bangor. Was that a struggle? You know, the in-between bits?
Yeah, I've thought about it. I thought, could I just do it myself, leave from the front door? And again, that's a different challenge
It's
in
a
itself.
different challenge.
You know.
Yeah.
So what you sort of lose in having to travel to different locations, you gain in different surroundings,
Yes,
different people
100%.
joining you for support runs.
Yeah.
So I suppose it probably balances itself out.
I didn't like it. I would have preferred to have said, right, Londonderry Park, 4 loops, fuck off home.
Oh,
Do you know what I mean?
you know, Londonderry Park.
You know, you guys are better than me, better drivers too. But because when you're tired, the thought of having to think is another challenge. If you know what I mean, because it's easy. Suppose it's the argument with the ultra kind of marathons. You can switch off, hit your groove, and ride it out. But with having to go to new locations, think about running a different route. Well, me personally, when I'm tired, I don't want to think. I don't want to go right 3 lefts and then we're home. You know what I mean? I want to just fucking do
think back to
listen to music or something.
the Donaghadee one at 10 o'clock when I think you got a bit disorientated, didn't you?
Well, I remember I hit my watch by accident.
Yeah.
The Donaghadee one, it was like, right, the 2 mile mark, okay, and you're watching your watch to see where the 2 mile mark is. Well, I couldn't see, and it was raining, and I thought, fuck, I know I'm close, like, and I was kind of running, and I hit my watch to read it, and to get the light up, and then I turned my Strava off, and I was on my own.
It wasn't on Strava, so you need to
Didn't
do
count.
it. You have to do it again.
I have to do it again. If it's 3.99 as far as Murph's concerned, you're a no-show. But luckily enough, was it Colin was running back? You were running back, and and Colin went back with me.
Colin come back
to the 2 mile point, because it's a real psychological thing. If I hadn't hit that mark, the other 2 mile back, you'd have been destroyed. You'd have felt.
The funny thing, you saying Colin come back, because Colin done, was it the 10 o'clock
He done
run,
a Scotty.
Scott, and he done a 3:99, and then 2 o'clock in the morning on the early hours Saturday morning, Colin turned up, which we weren't expecting.
I've actually got a video clip. I'll share it with you in the WhatsApp group, but it's sort of you finishing at Birchie's house on the Friday night after the 10 o'clock, and Collins went, right lads, I'll maybe see you later, but I'm a wee bit tired here. And then I obviously didn't turn up to that one to film it, but I woke up the next morning to see photos of Colin joining them. So, and he'd done that a couple of times.
That's what I
because the golf, the captain's day, he says, I'll definitely not be here tomorrow, lads. I'll definitely not be at the 9 the 10
He
o'clock.
ended up doing 5.
Yeah.
And he ended up with that
5.
one.
Yeah.
The captain's day was cancelled because of the rain.
But
He
that's
showed
right.
up for that
But
one.
he was the captain, so he cancelled it. So it's like,
Brilliant.
I'd rather go running my own boys and play golf.
But that's what I loved about it, because he told you he wasn't coming back, but he
And he showed up.
never let you know
He was
coming.
coming.
So he just turned up, and there was Colin again, and like it was great just seeing his face. Everyone's all the support runners, but to see Colin come back time and time again. Like,
Yeah, I think I'd still be in Donaghadee looking for that
Big
2 mile
respect,
mark
like.
if he wasn't there.
And that's the thing with the guys who turned up to support. They literally did support us when
That was
when you were
support,
needed.
yeah.
It's not as
Brilliant.
they weren't
Brilliant.
selfish
No,
and
it's
turning up
massive. Yeah.
and trying to get
A good time,
a good time for
Yeah,
themselves.
no.
You know,
So with the Donaghadee Lighthouse and all in the background, it was almost like he was a tugboat guiding me home, like, because obviously I was tired at that stage, and just having someone there.
Did you ever get your jacket?
Nah,
No.
I get left. Like, you know, when you're tired, everything just annoys you. And that jacket, it was like running in a greenhouse. I don't know, I was sweating. And then so you take it off, and you tie it around your waist. And then it kept dropping. And you're stopping and shuffling, and you're trying to tie it again. You're stopping. And here's me, do you know what?
The
Fuck
relationship
it.
was over.
It was a bad breakup. So I could tie it around a lamppost or something.
So every run, there was somebody there. And of course, the 2 o'clock in the morning early Sunday morning was yourself, Aaron. So
yeah, we're gonna walk through sort of run by run and the whys behind the areas. I know you are all sort of from different parts of the peninsula, so to speak. But we'll touch on each run bit by bit, and sort of thank those that did join us and those that have their own sort of stories as well throughout. Started at 2 o'clock, Murph, in Cardor, your hometown village, really.
Yeah.
2 o'clock in the day, you've ran 2 o'clock in the day probably hundreds of times, as you probably all.
Yeah.
To that run, it just felt like just a wee jog around the village, did it?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, it's a wee 4 mile loop I have there, so just took the guys on it. I think who done the obviously us three. Who was the other? Stephen Parker done it.
And then
that's right. Alan had turned up. Alan Strain had turned up. Yeah, to support us. Just he had hurt his back football. So yeah, Stephen Parker, who was one of the ones who was meant to do the lap, but just couldn't. I think somebody in work maternity, so I had to be off or something. So, but he came supported us anyway and done that first run. So, do you know what? It was. See that morning, I don't know what you felt like, but I was at the point. I just want to get the first one. I want to get into it. I want to get that first one out of the road.
I suppose you're mentally preparing yourselves for a challenge like that. You just sort of need, like you said, they're the first one out of the way because you can go into overdrive. What was the preparation like for you then going into the challenge? Obviously there's the physical preparation, having to do your runs, but you didn't get to train as much together. You were sort of just doing whatever you could. And then what was the preparation like in terms of getting yourself ready for food and hydration and stuff too?
Well, the running side of things for me, I ended up signing up for the half marathon Antrim Coast. So I had a bit of a running programme for it. So I was sort of doing it, and that was the 24th of August. So I knew that was going to stand by me anyway. Compared to the last time, probably we wouldn't have had as much miles in the legs. So that would have been a bit of a concern, but I think a big thing probably for me, and Scott would probably agree, see having that in your head that you'd done it before, I think that was massive. Where the likes of Gareth he was getting into the unknown, like we were the first time. And we knew we were going to do it slower because we weren't as fit, but at the same time, it's a challenge that you're better doing it slower anyway, and saving the leg, so that wasn't
it's a challenge that your speed doesn't count.
No.
Do you know what I mean? Like,
no.
The challenge is that every 4 hours you've got to be on the start line, as it were, to go again. Whether you do 5 minute miles or 12 minute miles, it doesn't matter. Right?
There's more to it.
Yeah.
I think if you remember back the 5 years ago when we done the first run, there was a 15-year-old out running with us, and him and I think it was my cousin Glenn sort of took off, and we probably just did that. But probably adrenaline was pumping a bit. We probably did it a bit too quick.
I think even if you look back to this challenge, the first couple of runs were our quickest too.
Yeah, probably. Yeah.
And it's probably what Aaron was saying there about just a wee jog around. Like it's your first run, you're excited to get going, and you do it a wee bit quicker.
What sort of preparation did you have, Scott, into it this time around?
I had a disastrous training program. Going great until one run. Like Murph, I had booked the Antrim Half Coast Marathon, so I was training towards it first and foremost, but more importantly was the 4x4 48. So during my training for that, I wouldn't say pulled, but felt my hamstring tight. This was about 6 weeks out from the 4x4 48. So
Wasn't ideal.
With that in mind, I was like, how do you go about this? Really concerned that I'm not going to have enough miles in the legs for it. But at the same time, didn't want to push myself and make it worse and then have to pull out at any point. So I said, all right, I'll take 2 weeks off running. Didn't do anything for 2 weeks. In the meantime, I went to an Oasis concert, and while I was jumping up and down, I pulled my hamstring again. Strained it. I wouldn't say pulled. Strained it.
What song were you jumping up and down to at that point?
Cigarettes and alcohol, I think. But so that was another setback. So I'm thinking, right, I'll give it another week, and then I went out for a run. Fine. Went out again. Felt it again. It just wasn't going away. So, like the 6 weeks leading up to it, I had done very little running. But like Murph says, done it before, and I knew sort of a lot of it is mental. And even though it's just 4 miles, sort of each run, I knew, right, I can get through the 4 miles, you know, and we'll deal with the next 4 miles when they come, you know. It's 4 miles at a time. I was just taking it.
Which is the best way to do it. It's stay in the moment. Yeah.
Don't eat the elephant whole.
What preparation did you have then, Gareth, in the lead up to it? I remember just in the WhatsApp group you were sending in and asking the lads all sorts of questions, and just to try and fill your head with as much knowledge as possible, was it?
Yeah, well, there's no real shortcuts in life, but if you know somebody that's done it, that's the biggest shortcut you're going to get. So I was picking their brains. Because that's the best way to go about doing something. Find someone that's done it and fucking torture them.
That's 100%.
So I was obviously working all day, coming home, you know, doing dinner, and then you crash on the sofa and you're like, fuck me, it's 8 o'clock. You know what I mean? It's like, I have to go out for a run here, like, to try and keep on top of things, keep on top of my training. And you're like, geez. So a lot of my runs were at midnight, you know. But it kind of put me in good stead for the night runs within the challenge. And then eventually I got a couple of day runs in. But I remember I'd done a 10 o'clock and a 2 o'clock. And I come home and I was crashing on the sofa, you know, and like practicing. And fuck, I couldn't get up for the 6 o'clock. And that was about 3-4 weeks out from the challenge. And I was like...
Did that worry you a bit?
Oh, yeah. That's when it really hit home. Because it wasn't just that 6 o'clock. I couldn't get out for the first 6 o'clock when I was training. And I was like, so I have to keep fucking running throughout the next day for another fucking 6 o'clock. And I can't even get up for this fucking 6 o'clock.
At this point, you wish you hadn't seen that frame photo.
I know. I'm like, you know, this is really worth a wee t-shirt and a fucking frame at my fucking bedroom wall.
T-shirts in our hand. T-shirt.
But in that moment where I didn't get out for that 6 o'clock one when I was training, I was like, well, why didn't I get out? And it was like the thought of having to go and get a new t-shirt and a new set of, you know, socks and shorts was just too much. So I thought, right, next time I try this, I'm going to have t-shirts, shorts, fresh socks sitting right there. So when I'm trying to pull myself together for the 6 o'clock one, I don't have to think. Boom, boom, out the door. And once you're out the door or at the start line, again, you can get into the groove.
But that's massive what you're saying. And even what you were saying, we haven't went into it, but the food prep and all as well. You know, just having things, you don't want to be coming back and start cooking stuff.
No.
I don't believe for 1 second that Gareth had his t-shirt, his shorts, his boxers, his socks all separated out. There's one person that's done that for him,
we know that.
along with the food preparation.
And the food preparation he had. He's still eating it. Actually, you're still eating it. Because if you're not eating it, you'll be wearing it. You know.
Yeah, sorry, when I say me and all that, I mean Tommy.
Tommy deserves.
I nearly said it when you were talking about driving to all the locations.
Oh,
you had a chauffeur.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I as I say, I'll take all the help I can get, whether it's picking them boys' brains or my fiancée Tommy. You know, it's true what they say. It takes a village. You know, there's very few things that we all kind of accomplish on our own. You know, when you break it down, there's help and support everywhere. If you ask for it, you know, I'm not shy in asking for it.
On day one, you know, Murphy referred to it quite a lot. This is the honeymoon period. Corridor.
People are thinking.
Corridor done. Then you have to go to Bangor for 6 o'clock. What you were saying, Scott, earlier on is about the scenery. I threw the drone up that day and just flew the drone around the Bangor Marina. I thought, wow, what a place! And you're running along the coast and down through Ballyhome, and the weather was fantastic too. Like, what a place to run.
Yeah, well, I got Scott to raggy a run, because we're actually going to go the other direction towards Hollywood, and then we're just thinking about the elevation and stuff, weren't we? I said, Scott, you go and raggy wee run for us, or I'll let you make in, and he done it for us. So just meant when we got there, we just sort of we know where we're sort of heading to, sort of thing. But
that was probably my favourite run in terms of like
backdrop
scenery.
Yeah,
you
100%.
had everything there. You had the
100%.
beaches and the sea and the.
With a guy travelled in Carrick for that one.
Guy you work with, you were
guy
saying?
I work with, and Scott actually knew from back in the day as well. And then who else?
Wee Mitchell ran
Wee
as well,
Mitchell,
didn't
Mitchell,
yeah.
yeah.
He had shin splints or something.
Mitchell's, he's just coming back with shin splints.
Was he supposed to do it all, or?
So I'd say, because I had him on Strava, and obviously he coached for me the last year at Abbeyville, and known him since he was a young lad. Like, he'd been out doing a lot of running, and I'd said to him, we're not doing any football anymore together. Why don't you join in and help Murph out here? And sent him across the details of it. And he went, I'll maybe try and get a couple of runs in. I'd love to do it all. And I said, well, I'll get Murph to add you to the chat, and sure you can see. I think at the time you only ended up doing the one run.
Yeah.
Now he's back on the road himself, sort of running now. I suppose if it was a different
He
time
did
for
say near
everyone.
the end of that run that his shins were starting to get sore again. So
Excuses.
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 40%.
Scott had none of it. All the guys are in the WhatsApp group now. Is taking them out.
I'm going to name them all here now, right now.
We'll name and shame.
We'll go through
Name and
it.
shame.
The only one we're
Shame.
glad off is Steve McGill pulling out, because that meant we didn't have to go to Vicky Park or Storm and Gates. So
We'll
cheers,
talk
Dave.
about
Thank you.
the Storm Gate one, but the 10 p.m. then at Birchie's house. I can remember from the first time doing it, there was a crowd of people at Birchie's house, and it was suppose it was the same this time around at 10 o'clock at night.
Well, if you remember back to the first one, it was quite eventful too. We were on the country road, and a joyrider came along there, put us all on the hedge. Just typical Newton-Ards. No, sorry about that. But yes, again, but we had a good lot of people at that 10 o'clock run up at Birchie's.
You're getting right into it then, aren't you? The third one.
Yeah,
starting to
you
get
definitely are. It's dark.
Yeah.
It's turned dark now, and
Headlamps
the
are on,
the
and
lights are out, and
You've two under your belt, and I kind of felt at that stage it was
we're
like.
worried about you now in the back of TJ's car. We were just
Well, that's where the health and safety measures come in. Where I went, TJ, you drive here, I'll hang out the back
Sign
of
a
the
disclaimer.
car, and TJ's driving down the road, and he's going to me, I can't see in front of me here. I went, TJ, you're in a car with lights on.
I know.
There's 10 people running behind us here.
I'm trusting you here.
The things you do for the shot. Good shot.
But once you got that 10 o'clock run out, you're really into then the nitty gritty.
That's when you're into it. You're going home. And I went home, and actually I have to get this in. The wee dog waking me up. I was sort of drifting off. And my wee dog started barking in the kitchen. Must have my kitchen window open or something. I just came down, got sort of back up, and just dead agitated. Knew I wasn't getting back to sleep. I was just drifting into sleep. I actually had to speak to myself and say, right, just lie here and rest. The next one you'll get. But again, that's the mental side of it, starting already.
Did you get a bit of sleep that early on?
I didn't get any of that one there. It
Oh,
wasn't
you
until between the
Just
2 and the
about to
6
drift off
was
and the wee
the
dog bark.
first time I got maybe an hour and a half, which as usual, as you know, is massive.
Yeah.
So you're 12 miles in, and you're sort of heading towards the evening time or the night time.
The night time.
When and generally would you lads sort of drift off and go to bed on an ideal evening?
I would probably, because I start early about 11, I go to bed.
Yeah. Half 11.
Half 10, 11.
Midnight.
Well, here's the thing.
What time does Tommy put you to bed at then?
Tommy usually gets my water bottle ready.
That's it.
And
Wee
then-
bedtime story and all.
And then obviously my bedtime story, and then she tucks me in about 10 for
So
a
the
power
fact
nap.
that you have essentially run 4 miles beyond your bedtime, when you've got them 12 miles done, did you get any sleep, Scott, or anything in between?
I think something like you're talking about lack of sleep, even the night before. So what would be the Thursday night? I had a poor night's sleep because I don't know if you're the same, because you're thinking tomorrow we're doing this.
Yeah.
So there's a bit of I don't know, apprehension, bit of excitement. Also, like I had a poor night's sleep even getting into it. Yeah. So
No, I think I was all right. I was all right.
Yeah.
So up until that one, did you have any sleep? The 2 a.m. one, did you
Did
get?
you sleep between 10
No.
and 2?
no. Oh no, I think it was.
My biggest oversight with doing this, because I am a good sleeper. I genuinely
Tommy said that you just put your head down anywhere and
anywhere,
sleep anywhere.
at any time, regardless, of having a good night's sleep. I'd always fit a wee power nap in before dinner. That's why I didn't
It's the
think.
age.
I know. I genuinely didn't believe I would have any problems sleeping, and I probably done better than them boys with sleep, and I probably got about 6 hours sleep. It's your body's just adrenaline or something. I don't know. A mixture of adrenaline and a mixture of the fear of not hearing the alarm.
Yeah.
No, that's a big thing. Really,
Just really your sleep. It's not a thing.
There was a couple of runs later on. I sort of sacrificed my fuel to try and get some sleep.
Yeah.
Because in an ideal situation, you probably get home,
It becomes such a priority.
have a bite to eat, refuel, cup of tea, whatever you want. Then you get the head down. Then you set the alarm so you have enough time to get up, get yourself prepared, and travel to the next thing. But that's in theory, but in practice it never worked out like that.
work like that.
And that was my biggest oversight. I thought it was right. Boom, 4 mile home. Do this. Boom, go get your 4 mile in. Boom.
Yeah.
No, you're
All over the place.
all over the show, and you go home and you're like, right, okay, I've done a wee bit of roller on the legs, I've fueled, I've got my water into me, I'm good. I've an hour and 45 here, and then you just sit like that. Fuck, I've an hour and a half here. Shit. You go, oh fuck, I have an hour and 15 minutes. You just sit and wait in the alarm going, and your body's not decompressing. You're not getting a fucking sleep, and then you're like, oh fuck.
And if you do get to sleep, when you wake up,
you
you've shit yourself that you've actually slept
yeah,
in.
yeah.
You're checking your phone.
There is that split second.
Just that split, you
Yeah.
just scared.
And
And
then
that's why I brought
the
2
watch.
alarms up to my Alexa, and I had it 5 minutes compared to my phone, just so to flip it.
Yeah, I haven't been to
And
school.
on Alexa had the Rocky music coming on, so
Yeah.
but then
Once that one done, you bounced up.
Rocky was going. Well, actually, my phone got me up most of the time.
I haven't been to school in 30 years, but one of the runs I woke up and I thought I'd missed the school bus for fuck's sake. and I looked at my watch and I was asleep for 9 minutes. But I woke up in such a fucking panic. I was like, what the whoa. Yeah, it's
Suppose
just
it's like when you're going on holidays or maybe an early morning
Yes,
flight,
it's the same feeling.
you just suppose you just don't get the sleep you should be.
yeah, you're getting that early flight and you're scared of missing it, and it's the most broken sleep you'll ever get. Like it's not cool.
And then we're into day 2, in suppose days of the week. Your Saturday 2 a.m, Saturday 6 a.m. in Malile and Ards. What were them runs like? Again, the weather was being kind to us.
The weather is being kind, yeah. Go ahead.
If you remember 2 a.m. 5 years ago in Malile, nobody turned up,
No, it's just the 3 of us.
and we were kind of expecting that again this
We
time
were,
around.
yeah,
But
yeah.
Colin Strain came through again unannounced. Colin Strain, and it's great to see him.
It was just a fresh face, especially at time in the mornings, just massive. So it is. Fresh conversations as well. Do you know what I mean? But
Because that run is all head torches. There's no sort of street lights or anything on that run once you get out of Malile a wee bit. So
just towards Donegal and back.
yeah, I mean just having.
But it's a nice wee run.
Oh no, it is.
Yeah, it's
I suppose it's nice during the day, like as opposed to 2 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah, but see the thing with the night one, it's the calmness of the night. You could hear the waves crashing.
Yeah.
And I was starting to get tired around then, and then you were telling me, was that when you were telling me the story about Al Pacino and the inches?
Aye.
Do you know what I mean? That's when you dropped that one in.
I was just sort of, what I was trying to do is, you have to sort of break the runs down. I was sort of, after the 3rd run, it's just right, we're 25% there, which I was keep calling the honeymoon period. But even then, sometimes you have to break the 4 mile run down, and even then you have to just whatever's going to work for you.
Yeah, it does. For me, it started to get real psychological.
at that point.
I think that was at
2 a.m.
Yeah, I started to feel the sleep deficit kind of.
Right.
When I reflect back on it, that was the start of my body going, "Why are you not in bed, you fucking idiot?" Do you know what I mean?
And that's when the fun begins with it all.
It really
You know,
does. Once you
because
don't get that first
you're nowhere
sleep
near,
in, bedtime.
you know, you can't see the finish line at this point at all.
No.
But it is breaking it down into segments and just breaking it down in your head. And like you say, you're probably getting to the point just one foot in front of the other.
Yeah, well, it was the two wee tricks that the wee seeds you dropped were breaking it down into percentages, and then even breaking it down into inches. You know, the Albertino fighting for the inches, and then they really worked like. Because when you looked at your Strava, it was like 0.5. So there's your 50%.
Yeah.
And I was waiting. I was just getting one foot in front of the other until 0.75. And then that was my 75. And then you knew the next one. You were completing a mile, or you were completing the 4 mile. So I was breaking it right down. But that percentages, those wee blocks.
It's just wee mind tricks.
That's the thing. You know,
just
no matter
confidence.
You know, this is all came from David Goggins, and all of his ways of doing things is all with the mind, and not like you're saying there, inches and percentages and halfway there and the honeymoon period. All that is essentially
it's 40% rule as well, isn't it? You know,
it's winning the battle of the mind. It definitely is. Your mind will tell you you're done long before your body will be done. You know, and it's just
I remember we were on the long and an Alsatian come running up to the wall, and I was getting her tight like. He turns around the Alsatian and goes, "Stay hard." But it's wee moments like that, and you're like, fucking, you can really get yourself.
Well, we actually seen that on the Malay run in the afternoon. I'll seen the same Alsatian again.
Yeah, but yeah, you suppose your brain can get the better of you, and it makes everything harder, or you can, make your brain work for you as such. And
then we fast forward into the 6 a.m, the 10 a.m runs in Newton Ards and Donegal then, which you're already one day in at that stage. You've 6 runs or so done. How did you feel at that stage?
Going to 6 a.m. one, I think I put a video on the group. I'd got my first sleep, so I was buzzing. To be honest, I was just flipping. I had fist pumping. I got an hour and a half. Brilliant, happy days. Doing a wee video, going there, and then Johnny Clapham came.
Yeah.
And Gareth Core as well. Again, fresh faces as well, which was brilliant. And it was a nice wee flat run, wasn't it? We just left Core down to the Portaferry Road, up onto the floodgates.
Yeah.
Yeah, just went so far along there, just 2 miles then. Came back
again on that one with Johnny, and this is why people join us are important. I think you were struggling a bit on that 6 a.m. one, and Johnny had dropped back to sort of support you and bring you home in that one. When
it's fresh conversation, fresh legs, fresh, it's like reset and go. If not that if it was the same faces, you can see how it would just kind of drag you down into some rabbit hole or something. But when it's a new face, a new conversation, it's a
new motivation, isn't it?
It's a new motivation.
Yeah, definitely, because they're bringing their freshness as well, and they're sort of
their enthusiasm
what you're
kind of
doing
rubs
is
off,
brilliant, sort of thing, And
but that would have been the first night then, as in no sleep. What the fuck's going on?
Yeah, because as we were finishing that one, the sun was just starting to rise again.
Yeah. That's whenever I took full advantage of breaking everything into percentages. Like, if you hadn't told me that, I don't know what we trick. I might have just quit. Just fucking ran on.
Well, as I said to Scotty, I know we're going back a bit from the second run. I said to Scott, I think Gareth's going to struggle here, But Scott, as Scott said, and I agree too, I says, but I think he's got a great mindset, and that goes back to even what we were saying earlier about the Great Wall and flipping base camp Kilimanjaro, and even the whole way through it, leading up to it, asking us all the questions. No, you were wanting all the knowledge, all the information. You were always going to get through it, But
It's just how,
probably that second run you wore a wee bit too much clothing. You know, you were wrapped up in a mummy and you were
because it was fucking freezing.
water feature.
It was freezing, and you know, I don't want any lawyers from Decathlon getting in touch, but your wee cheap running jackets are fucking terrible. If you're going to buy a running jacket for the 4x4x48, fucking don't get them with luminous £10 ones from Decathlon. It was like running in a fucking greenhouse.
Can't argue against the Decathlon.
I was
I'm
like,
quite
holy
happy
fuck.
with Decathlon stuff. If you want to send
Well,
me
the-
some stuff for free,
Yes,
I'll happily endorse it.
I
the
was,
emails out there.
yeah, because again, once that my body temperature went up, I was like, fuck, I'm in no man's land here. And the only thing that I'd done different was put that wee running jacket on. It just wasn't breathable. It was just heating me up.
But your body would be like that, you know, if you've too much.
Too many
clothing
layers.
on.
Because I had a
There
long
was only
sleeve.
one.
I had a long sleeved run. I didn't have a short sleeved running t-shirt underneath. I had a long sleeved running t-shirt and then the long sleeve of the running jacket. Those two layers.
They say the rule is dress for your second mile, you know, and
Yeah.
like Aaron said
100%.
early on, like weather-wise and even temperature-wise, it wasn't too bad
temperature,
until
even during night,
the last
the
morning.
temperature was warm.
Yeah,
And I suppose that's even harder then because it's sticky.
yeah.
It's
Yeah.
difficult for you because it's sticky and clammy. Where you sort of think there's clouds there, it's maybe going to rain, I'll wear a jacket, they'll bring my hat or something.
Yeah.
And you get out and you're running and it's
No,
clammy
it
heat.
was
It's
quite
difficult.
warm. Yeah.
Yeah,
Definitely
but when you are lacking sleep and I don't know, proper nutrition or whatever, it is your body does feel a wee bit cold. You know,
Colder.
I remember a
That's
couple of
true.
runs, when you're standing around at the start, you are getting
Yeah.
cold,
Yeah.
but it's by no means cold, you know, until you start running, then you're fine and too warm. But yeah, so that's just another challenge. Like, how do you prepare?
Yeah.
Clothing wise.
It's more experience too.
Yeah.
If you know what I mean. You'd know next time around. Just to feel that wee bit of cold. You know,
Yeah, once you-
half a mile in, you're
fine.
warmed up. Yeah.
Once you hit that 2 o'clock run, like I said, you're already a day in. Again, Malile, 2 o'clock in the afternoon.
Yeah.
There's, I think, Molly and
Molly
Gary.
and Gary joined us, yeah.
And again, I knew Molly through growing up through football, and Gary through his daughter is a good goalkeeper. And Molly has been doing her own challenge, following the loss of her son a couple of years ago.
Yeah,
She's
I
running through.
joined Molly and Gary the other night there for a wee run just because I said I would. I said, just give me a week's recovery. And then, but we done a wee 4 mile the other night. But again, seeing them there was great. And
'Cause we were looking around, didn't think we'd seen anyone. Didn't think
hadn't
anyone
seen
turned up.
anybody.
So I'd sent TJ a screenshot of Molly's what she was doing. I says, TJ, it's up to you. Reach out and just offer it. You know, if she can do it, she can do it.
Yeah.
And then I didn't know. TJ said, look, she might join one of them, and I wasn't expecting her to because I know she's busy with work and family life and football. And then to see her there at that 2 o'clock one with Gary was brilliant. And I threw the microphone onto you for that run, and obviously threw the drone up, and you were running down the road
That's right,
towards
I was chatting away to
Donegal,
Gary.
and you were talking
Yeah.
away to Gary, and you went, you know, the three of us were talking that it's just going to be us three here, and then
That's
Molly
what
and
we
Gary
thought.
turned up. But I think every single run there was somebody.
There was somebody
There
at
was
every
somebody
single
doing
run.
it.
Yeah.
And again, it's them conversations, it's them stories through different people. You know, ultimately we're all here to raise awareness for sports mental
Yeah,
health.
100%.
But you know, especially to Scott and yourself, we know each other through football, and
Yeah.
everyone that really joined. You know, the runs, Johnny Clapham, again, growing up through football, you know,
Yeah.
everyone was all attached to some sort of sport. And it's great to see them all out supporting you know, on
Yeah.
that, because
Oh,
that was massive
so
for
much
yous.
appreciated. So much.
You know, how big was that then going into the second half, really, when you're going on to that 6 o'clock Saturday night, everyone's getting themselves ready to go out or whatever, and you're getting your shorts on and your running shoes on again.
So the 6 o'clock one, it was Cardor then, wasn't it? It's back to Cardor.
Nephews joined you there,
We're at 6 p.m. on Saturday. Is that
yeah,
where we're at?
6
6
Aye,
p.m.
it's Saturday.
Saturday night.
Yeah, we need to throw in, but after our 6th run, at 10 o'clock, we got a leg rub from Buzz and
Simon Gordon.
Yeah, it's
I
down
think
at Abbey
Scott,
Villa.
Scott, you said to me on the camera that day, it was like a new lease of life.
Oh, it really was, because it's just started to feel my legs sort of tightening up. And yeah, coming out of there, honestly, like I'd got a new pair of legs.
Was the compression pads?
Compression.
Used them too, yeah.
Yeah.
Now the new set of legs didn't last too long, but it was brilliant. It
No,
really
brilliant.
was, and I
And
think
we've done that before the last time as well in the massive. So
no, I think what that done, I would have seen the benefit for the rest of the challenge. You know, it's okay me saying, oh, maybe my legs tightened up, but that really helped, I think.
yeah.
Because the last time we done this, I done no stretching, no foam rolling, anything like that, and I'm a bit older now, and it's more necessary. But I learned my lesson from that last time, which again is what I think helped me loads physically this time round.
Yeah.
Because I've done none of that.
The compression leggings, after we finished there, Buzz actually gives us them and says, use them between these the rest of the runs.
Yeah.
So Scott was
really come out
straight onto them because he loved them. That was his first time wearing them. But then he gave them to me, and then I think near the end, it's Gareth, you're going to... And he was like,
You still got them, guys?
I actually only gave them back to Buzz tonight there. So I actually turned up at his house, and there was a girl from Core turning up, and he comes to the door and he's like, have I double booked? I mean, no, Buzz, calm down, I'm just giving these back.
They were brilliant.
But I know it went back a wee bit there. I just needed to get that in because it was important. And like you said, physically later on, it definitely helped.
Again,
Definitely
it's the recovery in between the runs now. You're at that stage where you get so many miles under your belt that it's not only the mental aspect that you're trying to beat,
feeling it now.
you're physically struggling. And then the likes of Buzz and Simon Gordon. And I think one of the runs I can remember TJ just pulling a box out of his car, and I think he
gave it to me,
what
from
was
a
it,
calf muscle, yeah, just to be
massage gun, was it?
massager thing, yeah, wraps around your calf, yeah, yeah.
It's again, it's every little helps.
Every little helps.
Every wee muscle you
It's
have.
maintenance. It's that prevention's better than cure. You don't want to wait till you're exhausted or broke or pulled something. All those wee many steps of prevention. Definitely.
Did you get any injuries through it?
So,
Something behind your
it
knee?
was back of my knee, the tendon in the back of my knee from the 8th run, probably to the end. Just it was really sore. I was just overworked, so it wasn't. It probably took me about a quarter of a mile, half a mile before I sort of loosened up a bit. That was probably the only thing. Obviously, I was getting the fatigue in the legs, which you're always going to get. But that was,
Reniggle.
Yeah, I was sore, but you just.
Would you, Gareth?
No,
Any
I
injuries?
didn't.
No?
I didn't pick up anything. Obviously, just the quads were shot. The quads were done. But getting them, what do you call the pad
compression
things?
sort of
Get them
leggings,
compression pads on. Give me a real.
There's a real sexy photo of you on the bed.
But that was in my wee moment of I've got some hope back.
Well, that's
Because
it.
my legs were shot.
Yeah.
And 20 minutes on them things, you can feel the pain kind of leave you.
I think
"Holy
it,
shit,
yeah, I
okay."
think Buzz was saying it actually pushes the lactic acid
Right.
out of your
exactly
legs
what
as it
it's
works
doing.
down. Yeah.
That's exactly what it is.
So 20 minutes of them, and it gave me that hope for the second last run, was it? And then I done 2 cycles for the last one. But yeah, they were
No,
a blessing.
we weren't getting them back, yeah.
no, I lost them. I
And
don't
what
know where I
about
put them, mate.
Scott? Your hamstring at this point, how did that feel?
Hamstring's fine. Yeah.
I know there wasn't one sheet you mentioned that, during the 4x4
Yeah.
48.
No, the only real injury as such that I had through it was after run 9, possibly. My knees, but it was like the bone. I've never felt it before in my life. I don't know whether it's obviously just from pounding the pavements for
Aye.
Yeah.
how many hours we were doing it. But yeah, so when I was in the house and I was getting up from the sofa or up from the bed, literally could not stand, and I'm going, how am I going out here to run
Yeah.
4 miles?
That's
But
not-
you have to get out, and you say we'll deal with it when we get out there. But once you get out, first few hundred yards you're a bit stiff, and it does loosen up.
It's amazing how
and
your
then-
body does loosen up.
And when we done that 24-hour race 4 or 5 years ago, someone gave me a bit of advice. Like, it's probably pretty basic advice now, but ibuprofen. Like I took it, and it seemed to just take that pain away as well.
We just finished then the 6 o'clock one, and I can remember a message going into the WhatsApp group. Initially, in the initial plan, when Stephen McGill was doing it, there was due to be a 10 o'clock run at Stormont Gates. I'd imagine that would have took you up sort of in and around the hills of where Stormont is.
Stephen had actually done a raggy run. I wasn't 100% sure where it was, a 4 mile loop. He said it was a wee bit hilly, so maybe
anywhere near Stormont or Dundonald is fairly hilly,
Yeah.
I think it was one of these.
Stephen saying it's a wee bit hilly. It's probably pretty fucking hilly. No,
Scott, you had got in at that point and went, it's just as well we're not doing that Stormont run.
Yeah, McGill is one person I'm happy enough that pulled out in the end.
Cheers, Steve.
No, it's the challenge is difficult enough without throwing any added sort of difficulties in terms of hills, elevation, stuff like that. So, I mean, that's why the run I sort of rackied around Ballyholme was pretty flat the whole way around. So,
yeah,
I don't know, certainly the main hill up to Stormont. No, that's not where he rackied.
He wasn't going to take it, sir. No.
Yeah.
But again, he was unfortunately the last one to pull out with his back. But because of where he lived in the Hollywood Road, we were prepared to do it on Vicky Park, just to make it easier for him. But when he did sort of pull out, there was a wee fist pump, like, so. But and we just sort of right away we thought, right, bring the 2 runs back to us.
Plus, Stephen is a 5-minute mile guy, like, so
he is. He's an elite runner.
Yeah. I see Stephen out again, somebody I knew through football. I used to coach at East Belfast when I was coaching Abbey Villa, sort of a good lot of years ago. But he's somebody I see running the roads to this day when I'm out to walk or whatever. And you'll know the Hollywood Road up towards the Park Avenue where it used to be. Yep. He's hammered it up that road, and I feel for these lads if he's got Stormont Hills or Stormont Gates at 10 o'clock on a Saturday night. But was there ever at any point at the runs where you've either got past the halfway stage or got to a certain stage? I know you spoke, Murph, about the honeymoon period, and then there was obviously that grit your teeth moment. Was there ever a stage where you've went, we're nearly at the finish line?
I don't know what Scott thinks. Obviously, he done it the first time as well. After the 2 o'clock one, the 10th run, you seen the finish line now. But I found it the hardest both times, to be honest. I found it the hardest the first time. I even fell on that run, if you remember back. My cousin Glenn tripped, and I laughed at him, and 10 seconds later I hit the dirt. I got my karma very quick, and then but the second time I was running with a friend of mine, Johnny Parker, and I hadn't fueled enough, and I was actually, I don't think I even said you, I was sort of coming out in a sweat, but it was like I knew it was a sweat. I was dehydrating, and flipping, I was struggling. I could feel my heart rate going up in that run, and we weren't going that quick either. So probably both them runs, that's when. But then you just know after that, it's like there's 2 to go. There's 10 done, 2 to go.
The 2 a.m. one.
Yeah.
And then the 6 o'clock and then the 10. That's when you.
Was there ever at any point that you went, right, we're nearly at the finish line, Scott?
No. I don't know why. I suppose it just wasn't how I was breaking it up in terms of start and a finish. It was just the next run. Just do the next run.
Yeah.
So no, it wasn't a point where I thought, right, we're 75% done, 50% done, whatever way you want to look at it. A couple of runs to do. No.
It just shows that the three of you have different ways of processing a challenge and how you break it down. You're just going run by run.
Yeah.
And you're sort of, you've every mechanism, Murph, I would say.
I think
come
back to what I said earlier, like, could I, where my fitness levels were, could I run 48 miles? Probably not. Can I run 4 miles? Yes, I know that much. So let's work off that. Yeah. And my mindset into this one will be totally different to 5 years ago, because I was struggling big time 5 years ago after sort of halfway point. what's that, 6 runs. So after that I was really struggling, and I remember in particular the last run, like Murph and Glenn basically had to sort of shepherd me over the line, because I was just done at that point.
Yeah.
And you were a lot fitter then?
Oh, well, certainly
more miles on the
it was
clock.
fitter,
for
it was
that
fitter,
one?
yeah, and
you would have
I'd
been,
more
yeah.
specific training for that one too, because I remember doing sort of what you done, where you go for a run, you wait a couple of hours, you go out again to
Yeah,
get your
you
body
tried to
used to
mimic
that.
the actual real challenge.
I done all that last time, but not this time. Yeah, so
Just shows you done it, the two
So that-
different time eras, but it was
Yeah,
totally
so-
different for you.
So yeah, that's what I'm saying. I've sort of just approached this one how I thought I needed to do it, how
Yeah.
I needed to get through it,
Individual.
and that was each 4 mile run at a time.
You were mentioning there, Murph, that you were sort of dehydrated and sweat dripping off your head going into that 2 a.m. run, and
Yeah.
you had sent a message over Scott into the group at the time. Has anyone got any paracetamol or ibuprofen, was it?
Oh yeah,
So everyone must have been feeling it, but I don't think as bad as you, Gareth. From Newton Ards
Yes,
to,
we need
to
that
Bangor.
story. We need
how
that
was
story.
that journey?
Tell us about that.
What one? The
Down
vomiting.
the carriageway.
Yeah, so like we were knee deep now. We were knee deep. Like, what was that, the third from the end?
Yeah.
Got into the second night of no sleep, running all day, and then it was like, fuck me, my body I think just was traumatized what I was putting it through, like, and I was struggling to hydrate. Then I don't think I'd had anything to eat. And then I was trying to get some fluids into me, and then it was like, oh fuck, we gotta go again. It's like, where does the time go? And then we were bouncing the car, and Tommy was flying to the next location, and I was like, babe, fucking door open, 60 mile an hour, whoosh. Fucking 2 days worth of fluid out the fucking door.
You give her a bit of warning, she got a video, do you?
I know. And then it was door closed, hit the roundabout, up the Rathgill garage, and it was like, fuck my life. And there were still 3 more runs in, and it wasn't as if, that's 75% of the challenge done. It was like, how the fuck am I getting through this? Like, all the mental hacks were out the fucking window at that stage. Like,
the video you put the whole
it was just fucking. I've never cleaned his carpet again.
Something I wanted to ask you. Did at any point you think of quitting?
No.
Never?
No. It was more fear of embarrassment.
Okay.
It was, I'll be getting across that fucking finish line, but it's just different levels of embarrassment. Do you know what I mean?
There was a couple of times I had my doubts about you, but then me and Scott both said, and you said his mindset's going to get him through this.
Yeah, I thought because someone said early on, I says no, he wouldn't have got this far. If he's going to quit, he would have quit 2 runs ago.
Yeah, no, it didn't cross my mind. It was just, what level of embarrassment am I going to have to dig deep to get to here? Am I going to have to crawl across it, or am I still going to be able to finish strong with a brave face? Or am I going to even get past that stage and it's just fucking crawling across it? You know what I mean? It was just, what level of embarrassment am I going to fucking
There's all
have
these different levels.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You can get across the 4 mile, keeping face, or is it just get across the fucking line?
You must have thought it at some point.
Oh,
why am I doing this? Why did I sign up to this?
Yeah,
because we all do, don't
yeah.
we?
Yeah.
No, I know my whys, like, but it was more getting the last couple of loops in Londonderry Park at 6 o'clock, knowing that I had to reserve something in the tank because there was going to be friends and family at the 10 o'clock finish, and it was like, fuck me, because they're not going to see the miles we've put in. They're just going to see this fucking corpse turning up. Do you know what I mean?
On the 2 o'clock one, you had a fresh face from me.
Yeah.
The man himself.
Yeah. No, we get through that one together, didn't we?
We did, and it was an eye opener for me because obviously I'd introduced to you. Well, what was it? 18 hours before, having not known you.
Yes.
And that run we done was we sort of told each other a lot.
I honestly,
the reason I sort of wanted to do the run when I'd filmed and documented the first journey 5 years ago and seen and spoke to Murph about his battles that he went through of drinking and being down and how the running actually helped him. It sort of gave me a bit of a kick up the arse, so to speak, to do something else myself. And through being diagnosed with sleep apnea, I was sort of was always going to sign up to film it for you and for you, Scott. But I there was something about 10 days before I've went to myself, I think I could actually run one of them 4 miles. I've ran on the treadmill before in the gym, and I'd said to a mate, I've never ever ran outside, so the fact that I've ran outside was an accomplishment. But I'd said to a mate, I'm thinking about running one of them 4 miles with Murph, and he goes, well, you need to actually see what times they're going to do it in, because the last thing you need to be there is slowing them down. So I actually think Murph had sent you a message on.
So you're saying roughly, I was a wee bit of a divine intervention?
No, so I'd asked Murph, I says, as you're approaching the 2 a.m. in Bangor, that's your 10th run, what sort of time would you be looking? And I think Murph came back and says, you're talking in and around an hour, because we're usually fatigued and we're not going for any paces. And then you've went back the next voice note about 5 minutes later. Why are you asking that? And I went, I'm thinking about doing it, and then you'd said, look, I'd love you to do it, and we'd make sure that you'd complete that no matter how you did it. And my mate says, look, you can't just expect to, you walk every day, you can't expect just to go and run 4 miles, you're going to need to go out beforehand. And I went out on the Wednesday around Airport Road, ran 5 kilometres, and I wouldn't say I felt like death, but I went, there's not a chance I could do that on Sunday night here. And lo and behold, again, I was thinking about it as I was filming, going, like, I could just let these guys saunter on here, because I'm seeing your times go through in the Strava and you're hitting 47, 51, 52, and I went, I'm going to be a lot slower than that. I don't want to be holding them back. And I went, you know what, I'll just do it. If they go ahead, they go ahead. And then when you get out of the car and went, I've booked up everywhere, I went, yes. I found a running partner. So no, it was good. So again, the run itself, I felt great running down the Clandyboy Road, and we had a conversation just mainly about sort of media stuff, and as we were running.
And I think he was doing a bit of boating as well. As you were running,
he was
give you more.
Not so much at that stage.
Motivation.
You were flying like a gazelle with Johnny Parker, who was 10 pints and a pizza deep.
That's exactly true. That's very true.
Yeah. And then Scott, at one point at the bottom of Clandyboy Road, just went on himself. And then
he went on adventure his own wee route.
Did you not listen to the route I told you? No. Where did you go?
I went on up to the flyover.
He went up to the flyover, yeah.
I heard Silverstream. I heard Silverstream, and when I was running past it, I said, "Surely you don't go up there." But I should have known from 5 years ago.
Yeah,
you do go up there, but yeah.
It's when we were on that run, Gareth, like I'm really struggling here, and we were jogging just at a slow enough pace, and I was just jogging in front. He's like, you go ahead a wee bit, I'll catch you up. And all I heard was, and I went, he's not being sick there, because there's nothing to be sick. And I was waiting on his intestines coming up, or his lung being thrown out.
His body was in trauma mode.
He's got a jumper or whatever it was, a jacket laying in Donegal somewhere. He's got his dinner on Con Lake, and his lung was going to end up on the Clandyboy Road or something. So, but again, going back to the run that we had in the conversation, it wasn't until you told me about your story, as to why you get into running and completing the marathon, that I just went, like, if you ever feel that you're struggling at any point physically or mentally, the fact that you've achieved what you have, and I think you should be at least expressing that to us and the people that are possibly going to listen to this about exactly where you've came from one day to then managing to complete a marathon.
Yeah, so I don't mention it because I don't want people to kind of see me any different. But I was, in the eyes of the law, you call it a casualty, because an innocent casualty, because I was a passenger in a car which was in a car accident. So through no fault of my own, I was left, disabled. But I just crack on as normal because I don't want to be seen any different. But I woke up from a coma in an orthopaedic ward. And everybody around me, I wasn't so sure as to why, but everybody around me was getting craned in and out of bed. I don't know, young fellas, old fellas, it never dawned on me. About a week later, I was starting to get my senses, and I realised I was in a ward where everybody was paralysed. And I was like, holy fuck, I'm still a young man, like, and now I broke 3 vertebrae in my back, and I have scar tissue, on my spinal cord, but it didn't snap, thank God. So that scarring causes me to have weakness, on my all over, but predominantly on my right hand side, and dominantly on my right foot. But you kind of learn how to live with it. So I just I didn't, as I would say, live under it. Use it as an excuse, or I just cracked on as normal. Learned to live with it, learned to get the best out of it. But part of my rehab, once upon a time, was to learn how to walk. And that sounds extreme, but it's subtle adjustments that I had to make, in my walking pattern. And over time you build up strength, and you realise what you can and can't do. And ultimately, I used to have what was called drop attacks. So I'd just be, walking best I could, and because of the scarring on my spinal cord, either the signal from my foot to my head or my head to my foot would get lost in the scarring tissue on my spinal cord, and I would just drop, and it would happen here, there, or anywhere. Like, so it was very embarrassing. You'd be at the gym, or you'd be in the shopping centre, or you'd be just out walking the dog, but that signal would get lost in my spinal cord and down like a ton of shit. So I think that's where the embarrassment kind of comes from, where I never felt like quitting, but I just didn't want to embarrass myself crossing that finishing line, because obviously the more fatigue sets in, the more the leg maybe goes.
Yeah.
Does that still happen then?
It's paralysed. I'm paralysed. Like, well, the more fatigue sets in, the more I kind of can't control it.
Okay,
as long as I land heel flush on flush ground, it's a firm kind of run.
I didn't know that story at all.
No,
But that's why
on one of the runs you showed us the scar, but just in the whole rushing to do things, this and that, we never really talked about. Just seen your scar.
I know what you say. I don't even mention it because I don't want to be seen any different. It kind of, So I started off learning how to walk in rehab, and then I started doing, just to the end of the street. And then I lived close to a gym, and it was like, if I could get over this embarrassment of falling, or the risk of falling, I could get onto the treadmill. And then eventually I got onto the treadmill, and I just started doing like 1Ks, and then I seen that 5K was a bit of a benchmark for runners. So I was like, that was my goal then, if I could get a wee 5K in. And then you're like, well, 10K. And then you're like, well, there's a half marathon in there somewhere.
That's it.
And then for me, my closure was doing the Belfast Marathon, and I ticked that box, and it was closure. It was like, I'm paralysed, like, but if I was to walk past you in the street, you would know it. And I'm not going to act like a paralysed man. I'm going to act like, the man that I think I am. And I just cracked on, but I could do a marathon, like, so things aren't that bad, like. Do you know what I mean? And I just got on with my life.
You got the closure, and then the 4x4x48 just opened up an RV tour.
But like, who doesn't love David fucking Goggins? Like, do you know what I mean?
See, from hearing that, I've obviously had my concerns from seeing you physically as the times were coming in, and were you even going to make the finish line? But see, having been on that run with you and hearing that story, the fact that he's went from being paralysed from a car accident to teaching himself how to walk again to then run a marathon X amount of years later, I had no doubt in my mind that he was going to complete that. And I was able to go home that night or that morning, whatever way you want to call it. I didn't say use lads again, but I knew fine rightly.
You knew he was going to
that use three were all going to get past that finish line come, 5 to 11 or whatever it would be in Con League. And, and that's where it comes down from. While Scott, you don't have any inspirational stories as to why you do it, but there must be something in your mind as to why do you like the adrenaline of going up and down mountains or doing these challenges or doing this Goggins challenge, for example?
I don't know.
There has to be a why in there. But when it gets tight,
and you've thrown that one at me, and I don't know, why do I do these challenges? Something. Well, the mountains is an easy one because I just love getting out into nature, getting away from the everyday life of work, the busyness of life, glued to your phone, that sort of thing, and just sort of getting a wee reset that way. So that's an easy one. In terms of challenges, I think, and it probably goes back to Goggins. Maybe it goes way back further, but that's the job of a psychiatrist somewhere or whatever. But it definitely goes back to Goggins in terms of inspiration to just how much your body can cope with, how much you can put it through, and it'll be okay. Because it was the Goggins challenge. I've done the last one standing challenge.
Yeah, that's what I was going to ask you. It's like the last man standing. Like, what do you tell yourself to get up off that chair again to go do another loop?
It's the exact same thing. Just get yourself to the start line.
Yeah.
And you've already done it before.
And you just try and get round, But I don't know. There must be something like deep inside that just loves, like.
Is it the accomplishment of it alone, or?
I suppose a competitive thing too, and you're obviously years ago you were into your football as well, and you had successful football career, But then again, that's a team event.
The thing is, like, my competition is never someone else in the run or someone else in the race, because I know I'm never.
That's yourself.
I'm never going to win a marathon. Never going to win a half marathon. Never even going to win a 5K. And I think that's maybe why I sort of lean more towards endurance and ultra stuff, because it's not about speed. It's not about finishing first, second, third. It's about, as another Goggins quote, you versus you. It's doing the best that you can. And the next time.
Yeah, are you just curious then how far you can go, or are you curious? Are you curious about your own potential?
The hard locker sort of thing, don't you? You go into and because after the first 4x4 I think it was like a couple of months later, I signed up for a 12-hour 5K loop race, which I'd never done in my life. Done 47 miles, was hurting all over my body, going home, but the buzz I had was just flipping incredible.
But what was the buzz? Did you believe that you could
the achievement was what I never thought I could achieve in my life, what I'd just done.
And then what you achieved, just fucking.
I suppose, but the 4x4x48, I never thought I could do that. It was sort of and then you're sort of like, welcome to next sort of thing, But
I think when it comes, you mentioned football. When it comes to football, you need a certain amount of ability to play football. With running, and certainly endurance running, it's all in the mind.
Yeah.
So you think you can accomplish things, that are great. Like we talked about a guy, what's his name? Last one standing.
Oh, Keith Russell.
Keith Russell.
Yeah.
At last one standing, he held the world record at one point.
Yeah, 89 loops.
And we were lining up beside him.
Yeah.
That's something you'll never do in football.
Yeah,
you'll never line
true.
up against the greatest.
That's true.
So
that's cool.
There's something about that too. That it's not about how good you are at something. It's just that grit and determination and stubbornness not to give up.
And there's certain about it bit of madness there doing all them. You see the people you meet at them as well. They're all sort of have that wee bit of madness about them too, don't they? But see the galleries that there's not really, a 5K race. People are looking around, sort of, who's. It's not like that in the endurance.
I think Goggins uses an analogy, if that's the word, of a cookie jar.
Yeah.
Whereas each achievement that you do in life, he refers to it as a cookie. You put it in the cookie jar, so it's there. It's there for you to see. It's there for you to sort of take wee nibbles off every now and again if you're doubting.
Yeah.
And I think, well, going on to sports mental health, that doesn't need to be 4x4, 48. Doesn't need to be an ultra marathon, 24-hour race, whatever. That can be for someone getting out of bed. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Getting up, getting showered,
Making her bed.
going out for a walk. So it's great to have that to sort of look back on. The wee cookies in the jar that, yes, I've done that before, so I can do it again, type thing.
Yeah, it's like a wee benchmark. If you think you're having a bad day, you're like, cut yourself on. I done that.
Yeah.
I remember watching one motivated, and that's the guy said, I think it was Navy Sailor, it wasn't Goggins, and that he says, you can always make your bed, no matter what mood you're in, and that could be your first achievement of the day.
Yeah.
Yeah, I win the morning, win the day. And if your first win is making the bed, it sets your day off on a good note.
Yeah.
And I said that even if you have the worst day ever, you still have a nice, freshly made bed to get into it that night.
It's funny how you say that about you making your bed first thing in the morning. I translate this back to myself, where when I was sort of trying to become fitter or be more do more exercise, I'd have went and walked and done 10,000 steps every single day. To this day, for the last 2.5-3 years, I've done that. But I started by walking at 11 o'clock at night and doing a 5K walk around Titanic, because I didn't want people to see me out walking and go, says him, he's out walking or whatever. And my mate had said to me, look, there's going to be a day where you're going to do that walk in the morning. So I was always at one point going, I'm not going out tonight, lads, with my mates, because I got to go and finish my steps at 11 o'clock, because that was my day then completed. And it got to a point where, in the last sort of year, 18 months, I was getting up 7 o'clock in the morning before I started work and just going to walk in the morning around East Belfast or wherever it was. And see that, finishing that walk, you were mentioning about the buzz or the adrenaline of it. Your day after that is everything is as if it goes plain sailing. Yeah. Because you've done that first thing in the morning, get up, like you said, in your bed or whatever. The rest of your day sort of flies in after that.
Yeah.
And it works the opposite way too. Do you ever wake up fucking late?
All the time.
And the rest of your day is fucking shite. I really would, yeah. Near crashing the car. But yeah, even if it's making a bed, even if it's getting a few steps in, it sets your day off on the right foot.
I think it also, putting your body through this pain and getting through to the other side, you can relate that, and it's good preparation for anything that comes up in life in general that's hard, that you can say, you know what, I've been through this before, I've been through pain before, I can handle this.
It's adversity, you're choosing to face adversity, with these runs, and then it calluses the mind, as David Goggins would say, for other areas of life where you may face, adversity. So yeah, there is a spillover, there is a benefit other than just putting yourself through hell.
I think any type of exercise is so good for you, for just resetting your thoughts. Whether it is walking or running or on you're into. I think it is important. Movement really is. And I'm sure during COVID, the kids and all have been affected. You have all these tablets and all these days and stuff like that there as well. But you hear they serve their purpose as well. But I think just movement in general for all of us.
Yeah. Relating to the other sports again, like football, whether team football, like you're going to play a match with your team, it can be euphoric if you win, if you score, whatever. But it can absolutely put you in a pit of depression for the weekend if you get beat or put in a bad performance.
I'm a Man United supporter, so that's.
I'm talking.
Right there, I know what you mean.
That's where all the running comes from, man.
Yeah.
And I've even heard golfers saying the same if they have a bad round. It ruins their day, ruins their weekend. But when you go for a run or even a walk, like you say, you never regret it. You always come back feeling better. And the amount of times you've sat there in the house staring at your trainers, I need to get out here. And I've seen 3 hours pass.
Just staring at the trainer. I know, trying to tuck yourself
That's
in.
And you eventually get out and you're
getting out that, once you're out that door,
you're feeling brilliant.
Lads, time for us now then to talk about the glory run, the final 4 miler around Conlig, and we've touched on it already about the weather being kind to us. It wasn't so kind to us on Sunday morning, but at that point you can't really complain, could you?
No.
Who the fuck called it the glory run? There's nothing fucking glorious about it.
I think in the 6 o'clock run, started getting a bit of rain. I don't think there was too much wind, sure it wasn't. No, it's just a dropper. To be honest, didn't mind that at all. But yes, you wouldn't have wanted that from day go. Rain. That would have been a bit soul destroying. Yeah, definitely a different challenge. So, yes, we got the 10 o'clock. What a good lot turned up. After my first run, I was in the spa, and I met a fella, Paul Alexander, Chunky. He was telling me about doing this run sort of thing, and next thing he says, I'll be at your last run. And I'd forgot all about it, and there right enough, he turned up. Brilliant. He did, so, and then of course Colin Strain again. He's never away.
Surprised he didn't turn up here the night before, to be honest.
He can be outside, we just don't know.
He's in the car.
But, and then Johnny Clobb was there for his 3rd run, and good friend of mine, Paul Birch, who run with Gareth on the last run as well. There was a few other ones there as well, I just can't remember all the names, but we had a good turnout, especially for the weather too. And I can't forget Glenn, my cousin Glenn here, forgot about him. So obviously Glenn done the original one, so he wanted to do the glory run, the John Terry one. Didn't turn up with the Chelsea top, unfortunately. But, it's good to see him. I know Scott hadn't seen him in a while, so, and you do definitely during this thing here, you do make a bond. There's no doubt about that.
Yeah, we made a bond, didn't we?
Absolutely did.
2 of us fucking broke our hearts, got a back Pandy Boy Road.
So yeah, that final run at that stage, you've nothing left in the tank. You've no energy, no adrenaline. You're sore at every part of your body. But what is it in your head that makes you get through it? Is it the people there? Is it the fact that you're heading towards that finish line?
You're at the end. Well, compared to the first time, I agree with Scott. I didn't feel physically as bad, that one there. Yes, the tendon in the back of my right knee from the 8th run was sore, but it loosened up after about half a mile. So, but just...
For me, that last run was all about Gareth. For me,
yeah.
I was thinking, we've done it before.
Yeah.
And the last time I was in the exact same place or position that Gareth was in terms of struggle,
running on fumes,
pain, yeah. So the last one for me was for Gareth, for getting Gareth around it.
Yeah.
And just
he went the hell and back.
He absolutely did.
I went to the Abbey Villa match the second half on the Saturday, and the guy actually collapsed in Cumber, and he's a bit grey looking. But he came round, he was alright, and that's the way Gareth looked. Gareth was looking that grey look in the 10th run, but and I've even said to myself, and I said to Gareth when his future wife was cutting my hair recently, that I've done the ultras now, and I've been in a bad place, but I've never been that point of broken and even dry heaving and stuff like that there, and I don't know what way I would deal with it. Would it deal with it? Would it get through it? I don't know. But he dealt with it brilliantly, and
my secret was I was covered from my ankles to my butt crack in Nurofen gel. My quads were shot. If it hadn't been for those compression pads and fucking 2 tubes of Nurofen painkilling gel, I don't think I'd
The way I look at runners is like in races, like the guy who does a half marathon in 59 minutes is brilliant. It's fantastic. Fair play to him. But my respect is the guys bringing up the rear, because what they're going through mentally, physically, is far greater. Now, I know those elites put the training in to get where they are, not taking anything away from them, but my respect is with the guys bringing up the rear who are really struggling, and that for me that day was you, Gareth, and
thanks.
take my hat off to you for
100%.
getting over that finish line.
People don't realise, like that was your take on that event, and I wish I had known that a bit sooner, because my take on it was, I don't want to embarrass myself here. Do you know what I mean? It's like, suppose we don't give ourselves any credit.
No.
Do you know what I mean? Because you had your respects for me, and I'm sitting there worrying about, my own kind of insecurities and embarrassments. Do you know what I mean?
We're all like that. We're all our own worst critic.
Oh, we definitely are.
There's times the way you speak to yourself, you wouldn't speak to another human being like it.
No.
You know what I mean? And that's 100% true.
You really wouldn't. But thanks for mentioning that.
No.
You've completed it. It's the second time for you. I think we're probably at a stage now where, do we introduce caps for completing it, or is the cap the framed photo?
Would definitely want a framed photo, TJ. Like Gareth
That was what
probably wants a
inspired me
cap.
to fucking do it.
He wants a cap, free T-shirt, and
At the end of the day,
and
when you complete one of them
flake on it.
marathons or half marathons,
Exactly.
you get a medal and you get a
get
receipt.
some.
So I think it's only fair for you lads doing your bit that you get a framed T-shirt.
Honestly, and it has to be black.
But that
It has to be black. And it just seeing this man's that day when I was cleaning his carpets, it just looked fucking smashing. Like, but the memory, when I looked at that, it was just like it was a cool T-shirt framed, and I could tell it was your prized possession. But when you look at it, I knew that you seen your accomplishment there.
Yeah.
I take it did you get yours framed?
yeah.
Yeah, I
Mine's up in the loft somewhere though.
oh fucking I have mine in the fucking garden. I'm fucking the fence.
But
It's funny how Scott loves the medals, don't he?
well, that's what I was going to say. Like, that's another thing to this challenge. Like any sort of running race you do, you always get a medal. I generally do it for the medals. And
Yeah.
maybe a free T-shirt if there's one going.
But it's what it signifies,
But that's a great thing with this. You cross that. It's not really a finish line, but you go past mile 4 on your last run, and that's it. You just
Although the way
just-
Gareth crossed the line was brilliant. Do you remember what you did?
Yeah.
Fly kicked it.
Flying
Flag
kick.
kick. Flag kick.
But you just, yes, everyone well done, blah, blah, blah. But you just go back. But it's the bond that you make with the guys you're doing it with.
Yeah.
It's the
100%.
experience of the
It's
people
for life.
who do you
It
support
is.
runs
For
with
life.
you.
It really
And
is.
that's one of the things for me. Obviously, I documented the first one, and at the time when I had reached out to TJ about documenting the first Goggins Challenge, and then a couple of other things that TJ had with the guys at sports that have been through sort of their challenges. They got to a stage where I was just too busy and I couldn't cover any more. But when this came up again to do it, regardless if I was busy that
You
weekend,
didn't hesitate.
I was doing it because, from knowing you lads, from seeing, the last time, everyone that was on the runs, how well it was received, I actually put a lot of pride, effort, and enjoyed covering it. But it's not at the time. It's for you guys to see it 5 years down the line, and then you and Tommy sat and watched the first one
Oh, aye.
before
right.
you done it.
That's
So.
right.
5 years time or whatever it may be, it's you can show your grandkids, kids or whatever it may be, and it's always going to be there, as completing that challenge.
And I look good from 40 foot up, like. With a nice wee filter over the 4x4x48 and a nice wee Goggins quote. They were brilliant. That's what I do it for. I do it for the Facebook back cover.
Aaron earlier, when we arrived, was asking about, he's thinking about doing 5 years again. So I think he's planning to see it himself.
No, I wasn't.
That's what I
Nah,
sort of got out
I'll
of it.
hell absolutely film it again for you. No problem at all.
Just don't know.
I do want to hit
Look
you.
where you've came, and
Yeah.
Because if you you're doing your 10,000s every morning. Just a few more wee increments.
We'll never. That wasn't in the script here, but we'll not go off topic. What I do want to ask is each of you your most enjoyable run of the 4 miles you've done there. Scott, go ahead.
Most enjoyable run. The one I'll not forget many of them, but the one I'll probably never forget is the one that you joined us on. And for that reason, because you talked earlier about your conversations with Murph, but in the meantime, me and Murph were out, we text back and forward. Aaron's thinking about doing this. I said, that'll be brilliant. Then he came back, Aaron's not going to do it. And I go, no, he has to do it. We'll get him around. He said, it doesn't matter, time doesn't matter. Because I knew what it would have meant to you to get out there and do it. But you talked about not running outside because of confidence, and like you've been on a fantastic weight loss journey. So for me to see you, and I sort of hung with you for the first mile to you, and sort of, and as you said, pushed on a wee bit. But for me, from those early text messages, seeing you actually out there doing it with us, that will be the run I'll always remember from this challenge.
Just to caveat that you can't pick the same ones.
I have to second that. That's 100%. And like Scott's right, there was a wee message going, he wants to do it. I have to get him to do it. Definitely he has it. So I have to back him up there. I know it's the easy way out, like, but definitely 100%. See, and just seeing the two E's coming down, and yes, having to run by the garage a wee bit. Just
I know.
We were sort of planning that we're going to watch more, but we're going to have to.
I think you put it up in your story on Facebook, and just you and Gareth, and just the smile and just the accomplishment, you could see it written all over your face, and Gareth's just like,
But no,
obviously two E's made a bond on that actual run. So no, that is
100%. That's why I have to be third. I love this. I love the camaraderie. I love the banter. I love real moments. Life goes by fast, and it's all bullshit. And me and you, knee deep in that run, sharing our whys, sharing sensitive moments in our lives. Where else do you get that? Everybody goes to the pub at the weekend, it's all yee-haw, and then you're up and you go to fucking work on Monday and you're like, fuck this here. And then you go home and it's fucking, everyone's just running around like zombies. And then all of a sudden... I would
say in running, you get that a lot.
You
because
really do.
You know what? You're not on your mobile.
No.
You're not staring at the TV.
No.
It's just you, and especially if there's only
another
two
human, being humans.
You're opening up.
That's it.
I
suppose there's plenty of people that open up at 3 o'clock in the morning on the Clannyboy Road, but they're usually half juiced, like on their way back from Betty's or something.
Like that guy was singing.
I know.
I was trying to think on my way down here what song was he singing, but I couldn't in the top of my head.
He was kind of
the guy me and Johnny went by. He backed out of the road.
Probably the same
guy. He went by and he goes 108.
But he was shouting praise and compliments and encouragement and all.
Clannyboy Road, so he was coming up.
He was coming up from the town, black juice.
Off license or so he would have hit when we seen it.
Yep.
Yeah, that's the same guy. Yeah.
But yeah, no, that was another wee funny moment, like. And then honestly, me and you having a good, man-to-man yarn, like. What other areas of life do you get that? You don't.
That's it, and I suppose that's the beauty of like you said, Murph. Just exercising or just out there running, walking, or whatever it is in general, and it's the reason I suppose TJ and the committee at Sports Mental Health and I have essentially formed is to show the message across to people and for people to reach out for help or support whatever they need. There's different areas that are available for people. There's a lot of people we probably have to thank, during this. Obviously, everyone that's supported you in all the runs. Gareth, your better half, Tammy, for her chauffeuring and...
keyword, better half.
I'll help you out. 2 hours in, you finally give her a bit of praise. No, but for all the food and even the support to use, being there with a smile.
It was brilliant seeing Tommy there and
Taking the photographs.
even getting their photos right for Scott, the portrait photo and all for his Facebook story.
If you notice when we finished the run and we were all saying our piece, the second I mentioned her name, Anir started fucking crying.
Yeah.
So I was strategically avoiding it tonight because you can be forgiven for one near cry, but two, I think it might just become a bit of an in-joke then, and I would set myself up for a bad fall if I start crying twice.
Obviously, we mentioned Simon, Gordon, and John Busby at Abbey Villa for their support throughout, and you get spa treatment at Ardsbloor Main as well.
Yes, we contacted the manager, told him about the charity, and he was right away with the vouchers for the boys. So, which was brilliant. I'm actually, me and Scott went. Gareth was meant to come, but Gareth just had to get home. He just had enough. Probably had enough of seeing my face, to be honest.
No,
but we went.
Tommy had my hot water bottle and pajamas sitting.
There was one point, me and Scott were beside each other in the heated beds, and I think half an hour later I woke up. He was gone, just out. But it was just afterwards, just recovering. It was just great. So thank you very much, Ars Leisure Centre, for that.
A big thank you as well to obviously everyone that's donated, whether it's in cash, in person, through the sponsorship forms, or on the link, like TJ mentioned at the end of the video. It's not essentially about raising money for this. It's raising the awareness. So your likes and your shares on the Facebook post, on the YouTube video of the documentary itself is very much appreciated. It could help 1-2 single people out there.
100%.
Your support is definitely very much appreciated. The link is still going to be there for anyone that does want to donate. Does go to Sports Mental Health NI, who would provide counselling services to sports clubs, individual counselling services to people. So no, it's definitely very much appreciated. Lads, have you any final thoughts that you want to share?
Really glad we did this, to be honest. I think it was Scott's idea again. It was
you that told me though. It was Scott's idea, but it was you that asked me.
You throw the snowballs, Mark. You don't build the snowballs, mate.
But I think it's good getting a bit of clue and giving people an insight to what, because everybody was saying is turning up 4 hours later, here we are, but in between it's, there's a lot going on. So I think it's good to give everybody a good insight to what everything that's going on, whether it's good or bad or ugly.
Gareth?
I'm glad I've done it. I've got 2 new friends. If anything,
Choose to. It's not me.
It's Aaron and Scotty.
You're a client. They change your carpet.
I know I'm getting charged next time.
No, I've deleted Murph's number. He's the kind of guy you want to know for like an hour. But no, it's just been a brilliant experience all around. And we all have our bragging rights now forever. Can't be taken away from you. A lot of things in life can be taken away, but the 4x4x48 with these guys can never be taken away now. That's it in stone, and for that, I'm glad that I done it, and I was asked.
Roll on 2030.
Well, that's what I was going to finish on. That's what I was going to finish on, Murph. You've started something now that it's obviously going to be done every 5 years.
Yes.
You've had three do it in 2020. Yourself, Scott, and Glenn. You've another person done it this year, but you're still sitting at that number of 3. What's the plan of attack now going into 2030?
Can I just say, do you think you'll be capable of doing it in 5 years when you're 60?
Be 60. I'm 55 then, so
plus 5.
But
Colin Strain, did you ask who we're going to bring along?
No, so who's going to do it next time with you?
That's what I mean, yeah.
Oh, he's
Colin
doing
Strain.
it. He wants to do a whole lot, yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah.
I think Mitchell's easily 5 years. He'll do it. There's 5 you're up to. Is Glenn going to come back and do it?
Who knows? Who knows? He probably
Glenn will be
two or three
halfway
kids
married,
in,
and-
This is me putting you on the spot then.
What about yourself?
Well,
What about
I'll be
yourself?
I'll be back. 2030 he signed up.
Abso-fucking-lutely.
Here, it's all video here. It's all there to see.